We believe that an isolated Christian is a paralyzed Christian. Unless we participate with other believers like God's family on mission together with Jesus, it is impossible to represent His church, impossible to be involved in discipleship. Now, the alternative, as represented by those Lone Ranger Christians out there, is to point fingers and tell others how to live, probably because they are incapable of showing anyone what it actually looks like. We believe that discipleship is not represented by potluck socials, a quick Bible study, and ending in a prayer while each person then goes their own way. Unless we are involved in accountability to each other while also involved together in the hard work of ministry that serves people outside the church and not just inside the church, we will never, ever succeed at making the kind of disciples that the Bible talks about. Don't be like that. Be in community. And some call it small groups. We like to call it missional community. Christian leadership implies serving others, which requires community. This lecture explores the profound and often overlooked aspect of leadership, the habit of community. This topic comes from chapter 29 of Lead Like Jesus, revisited by Ken Blanchard, a chapter that challenges us to reflect on how relationships, our connections with others, are essential to leading like Jesus. Jesus didn't lead in isolation. He lived and taught and ultimately fulfilled His mission in the context of deep, intentional relationships. If we desire to lead like Him, then, cultivating a habit of community isn't just beneficial, it's essential. That term habit here is crucial. A habit isn't something we do once or occasionally. It becomes a regular practice, something we invest in. When we talk about the habit of community, we mean intentionally building and maintaining meaningful relationships as a consistent part of our lives, our leadership, and our own accountability to progress. Leaders who try to go it alone often end up struggling. Why is that? Because leadership is inherently relational. Whether leading a family, a team, a ministry, a church, a business, the people we serve aren't just tasks to manage, they're souls to care for. So let's look at Jesus. His ministry was built on community. He didn't journey it alone. He called 12 disciples to walk with him, learn from him, and ultimately carry forward his mission. Think about it. Jesus shared meals with his disciples regularly. Jesus invited them into his joys and into his sorrows. Jesus prayed with them and for them, and they all did life together in the context of ministry while learning from Jesus how to live the Christian life and walk the walk we talk. Even in his moments of deepest anguish, like the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus brought his closest disciples along to be with him. Did they fail him? Yes, of course they did, and people will fail you too. But he still sought community because he knew that isolation was not the answer. People will fail you, but you'll fail them. Keep practicing community and don't you ever quit. Why does community matter so much for leaders? Well, there are several reasons for it. Number one is accountability. We all need people who will speak truth into our lives. Without community, leaders can easily drift into pride, self-sufficiency, or burnout. So we have to demonstrate coachability. That happens in community. In healthy relationships, others can challenge us when we're wrong and encourage us when we're weary. Leaders demonstrate what it looks like to be coachable. Number two is support. Leadership is hard. There will be times when we face rejection, disappointment, and even fatigue. Times when people really let us down and we just want to walk away from them. In those moments, community provides a safety net. The people around us can remind us of our purpose and help us to keep on going. Number three is collaboration. No leader has all the answers. Community brings together diverse perspectives, strengths, ideas. When we work with each other, we accomplish more than we could ever accomplish by ourselves or alone. One might say that two can accomplish more than twice as much as one. Ecclesiastes 4:9-12 puts it this way: two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up, but pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if two lie together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. You see, a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken, end quote. Number 4, spiritual growth. Community is not just practical, it's spiritual. Proverbs 27:17 reminds us, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. God uses relationships to refine and teach us and help us grow into the leaders He called us to be. Discipleship is only effective in the context of community on mission together with Jesus. Now, if community is so beneficial, then why don't more leaders embrace it? Well, there are some common barriers to overcome. The first is pride. Some leaders believe they don't need anybody else. They believe they're self-sufficient, capable on their own. They think admitting weaknesses or asking for help is a sign of failure or weakness. But Jesus Himself modeled humility by relying on others. Shouldn't we do the same? Another is busyness. Our schedules often are so packed that relationships get pushed to the side. But that's short-sighted. Without strong relationships that we invest in, our leadership will ultimately suffer. So community must be important enough to schedule it as a priority, or you'll never participate in it. Another obstacle is fear of vulnerability. Building community requires opening up, and that can be scary. It can be challenging for many to be transparent and confessional in front of anybody else. You see, we try to hide behind the mask that says, I'm okay, I don't need any help. Perhaps we worry that people will judge us. What if they let us down? But the rewards of community far outweigh the risks. So how do we cultivate the habit of community? Well, here are some practical advice, some practical steps to consider. First, we prioritize relationships. We make time for people. We schedule regular check-ins with our team, with our family, and with our friends. Remember, relationships do not happen by accident. They happen by intention. The only reason why you may not participate in community is because it isn't important to you, and that puts you in direct conflict with the teaching of Jesus Christ. Second, we join a support community, or we create one of our own from people of faith that we share life with. And I'm not talking about your church attendance here. This could be a small group at church or a leadership circle or even a group of trusted friends. Surround yourself with people who share your values and will help you stay aligned with your purpose while you also help them. Third is we become vulnerable, transparent even. We start small, but take the risk of sharing your struggles, asking for help, confessing your faults. Vulnerability is not a weakness. It's a sign of strength and trust. It becomes a model to show others that it's okay to confess what they need to work on, just like you and me. And fourth, we invest in others. Leadership is not just about receiving support. It's also about giving it. So who can you mentor, encourage, or walk alongside? Investing in others deepens your community and furthers your impact. And who are you allowing to invest into you? Accountability is mutual, my friend. As we close, let me remind you of this truth. God designed us for relationships. Ours is a God of relationships. From the very beginning, He said, it is not good for man to be alone, Genesis 2:18. That statement isn't just about marriage. It's about the human need for connection. If we want to lead like Jesus, we have to prioritize community. Yes, it takes time, it takes effort and vulnerability, but the rewards are simply life-changing. Through community, we grow stronger, wiser, and more Christ-like. So I challenge you this week, take a step toward building the habit of community. Maybe it's reaching out to someone you've lost touch with. Maybe it's joining a small group. Or maybe it's simply being more intentional with the relationships that you already have. Whatever it looks like for you, remember this. Leadership is not a solo journey. It's not something you do by yourself. Together in community, we can lead like Jesus and then start making a lasting impact for His kingdom in the lives of the people that we influence. There are no lone rangers in Christian coaching and leadership.